Hello and welcome. I am Sonia Barrett, host of the Expansion Zone on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles, and also the producer of the award-winning documentary, The Business of Disease. Well, introducing experts, tools, and products that promote a healthy lifespan is what I am all about. So I have been sharing a series of mini interviews, and today, of course, is no exception. Today, we'll be talking about Chateau de Luz, founded in 2022 by Sandra Austoni, a French expat living in Southern California. The goal of Chateau de Luz is to produce an ultra premium extra virgin olive oil with an optimum antioxidant count and a scrumptious taste reflective of the land it comes from. This 6-acre estate has its own milling equipment, which provides the opportunity to mill the olives within 24 hours of harvest. Sandra practices organic farming with a focus on enriching the land and promoting biodiversity. Sandra also resides on this beautiful estate in the hills of Duluth with her husband Alan, and two doc doxies, two little dogs, Oscar and Chloe. All right. So I'm excited to have Sandra here because olive oil is something that everybody tends to know about, everybody uses, but there's so much more to olive oil. There's so much more to really understanding the health benefits, the processing of it, the love that goes into it that can make a big difference as well. So I'm excited to bring you my guest. So Sandra, welcome. I'm excited to chat with you about this wonderful venture that you're on.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, because until I started talking to you, I thought I knew about olive oil, and then I found out that I didn't really know anything about olive oil. So thank you so much for joining me. So probably let's kind of begin with talking a little bit about your family background, because as I said earlier to the audience, that you are really originally from France. So that goes without saying then your background in regards to olive oil making and olive farming. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in south of France, and my family has been owning olive trees for as much as I can remember. Actually, the late 1800s, my great grandfather planted his first olive tree. And it's very common in south of France for families to actually own olive trees and to harvest the olives in the winter, and so that the family can share the olive oil. And each village will actually have its own mill where people can just bring their olives and mill it. So so yeah, our family has been, I mean, my family has having olive trees for so long, and every time I was going back to France, I was just loving being in these olive trees. I left when I was quite young, so I never actually participate in the olive oil, making. But somehow it's always been in my blood and
in your DNA.
In my DNA. And there's a thought in France. This is so funny, but people that are from the south do everything with olive oil, and people in the north will do everything with butter. So I'm a southern girl, so I do everything with olive oil. We consume a lot of olive oil, and so yeah, that's my background. And since I moved away from Europe, from France, it's always been hard for me to find like higher quality olive oil.
So here you are.
So yeah, here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, interesting that even though you weren't involved, it's still a part of you. You're part of that land still. So let's talk then about how you actually ended up with this incredible property. I mean, going to your property, it's probably like going home.
It is. So the funny thing is that during the COVID, my husband and I were looking to buy a property with more land. We were living in Orange County, and we were a little bit, on the top of each other, and we were really wanting to have more space. So we start to look into the Temecula area, which is between San Diego and Los Angeles. And we were not looking to have any crop at all. It's just, we visited several property. And when I visited this one, which happened to have, over 600 trees, I just fell in love with the place. For me, it was just remember where I'm coming from. I was, oh my God, I'm like back in France, it's just the feeling and attraction was so strong for me. Like the land was really calling me. So we just had no choice. We had to buy the land, and so here we are now, with a farm really, and with trees, and the property came with a mill, an Italian mill, and the previous owners were doing their own olive oil. So yeah, that
Oh,
was
wow.
not something that we were expecting. It's just something that happened.
It was part of the journey, as I like to say. It was just part of your journey, and the land was there. It was there waiting for you. It was just calling you, and so I love that. Now, this had to be a super, in a way, I guess, crash course in now learning how to work with the land and how to even process the olives for production.
Yes, that has been a super crash course. I actually had to call my family and say, okay, can you give me some hints? Because, again, I left so young that I haven't really participated in the process. But yeah, we learned. And so we, olive trees are pretty easy in a sense that they don't require a lot of maintenance. It's mostly watering. So we are very lucky because we have a well on the property. So we irrigate our trees with natural water that is not treated. And we do analyze our water every year to make sure that it's pristine. And it's always really nice. It's very rich in minerals. So it's definitely impacting the olives. But yeah, watering is definitely a big part of the growing. And then olive trees hate to have their roots in the water. If you see in Provence, where we are, the terrain are always very hilly. And this is what I love about our place here, is that it reminds me so much of there, because our property is not flat at all. We have a lot of hills, so a lot of rocks also, so which provide a lot of drainage. So the trees, we provide them with water, but after that they need to dry, so it's the perfect condition for them. And the only things that really we need to manage as a grower is the fruit fly, which was only prevalent in Europe during the 80s and 90s. But since the late 90s, the fly has made its way to the US and California. And so now, as a grower, if you don't take any prevention, then the fly will just lay an egg on the olive, and then something will grow inside the olives, and when you crush it, then it will be a less optimal olive, which will result in a less optimal olive oil. So what we do to prevent that, because we follow organic farming, we spray our trees. So right now we did our first spray like a couple of weeks ago, when the fruits start the pitting process, or when the seeds start to get hard. We spray the trees with a kaolin clay, and that provide first of all, that provide the tree with some shade for the heat. And that product is used a lot by citrus growers and other growers that
it's natural.
Yeah, they don't want their tree to burn in the summer. So that's the first thing, is create a film, a barrier. And then the second thing is that it will blind the fly. The fly will not see the fruit, and so will just move away. So yes, it's completely natural. It's approved for organic farming. So I did send you a little video of my husband actually spraying the trees. And so that's what we have to do. And we apply also on the tree. There's like a natural fruit fly bait that the female will hit and will kill it. So that's the two things that we do to prevent the fruit fly from affecting the tree, and for us to have excellent high quality olive. And
Now,
so
let me ask you really quickly right there, because what you said about the flies, are we to assume then that that is going to be the normal practice with everybody, all, companies growing?
So that's really funny, because when I started to investigate, when we bought this property, I started to look, about what other company was doing. And it's weird because it's not something that is very talked about, what people do in terms of spraying and or fly management. So I mean, people that do olive oil just for themselves, not to resell, if they don't want to spray, then that's fine. But if you want to sell, as a table olives, there's a 0% tolerance, meaning that the olives needs to be like pristine. And for crushing, there's a 10% tolerance, which we really don't want to have any of our olives be affected by it. But I don't know what other companies, or other growers are doing, because it's not, when I look on other websites, it's not, they don't really talk about it. So that's like,
so you just sort of have to trust that you're not getting smashed flies.
Yes, so that's another reason when we'll talk about the olive oil we buy in the supermarket. We don't really know what the companies has been doing in order to prevent the fly, especially in Europe, where it's worse. The fly problem is even worse over there than here. So but we want to be very transparent into what we're doing, and so that's something that we're doing, and that's
top of the list.
Totally.
Yeah. So let's talk about, okay, so I mentioned earlier that the importance, I guess, is from everything you've said, of the olives being pressed within 24 hours of harvesting. Is that really significant in terms of how soon they're pressed? I'm just curious.
Yes, it is. So we do harvest by hand, which is the very traditional way of harvesting, because it will not damage the fruits, and it will not damage the trees also. So it's more labor intensive than, like big companies that will have this big machine that goes into and then just harvest and damage the trees. And our terrain is so hilly that, we cannot use any machine anyway. So, but once the olive is out of the tree, then it will start to degrade, like any fruit we picked up from the tree. So it's very important that the sooner you press the olive, the higher quality you will have in your olives. I'm sorry, in your olive oil. Mm-hmm. So we schedule a day, usually on a Saturday, and then we will have our crew come in, harvest. We have these big bins that will have half a ton of fruit, and usually they will do a ton of harvest every Saturday. And then we will start the processing. My husband is operating the machine, the equipment, and then we will start the processing, in the afternoon, and then all the Sunday, all the day after. And so when we harvest our fruits, we tried. So last fall was our first harvest, and we target to have about 25% of green olives. Because the more green olive content you have, the better the taste, the more fruity and flavorful the olive will be, the olive oil, and also the higher the component in polyphenol will be.
Well, so can we talk about that? Because I think this is a part that I think your average person, most people, I didn't know either, about the olive oil. And what is that the phenol or
The polyphenols,
polyphenols.
yeah.
Yes, can we talk about that? Because that is crucial to the health
Yeah,
of the body and of course the quality of the olive oil that you're getting.
totally. So the greener the olive, the higher the component, the polyphenol content will be in your olive oil. The more ripe the olive, the better the output of olive oil you will have, but the less quality, in terms of taste and also in terms of polyphenol will be. So that's a trade-off. People grower that will just go more the commercial road, which is what you basically find in your supermarket, will tend to harvest a more mature, so dark olive mainly, and then we'll have a better production, a better output of olive oil, while higher quality will press more green, and some even go to the extent of only pressing just green olive or green olive. So we'll have a less output, less olive oil being produced, but the polyphenol content will just be like, to the top. So we tried for the first time, we tried to go like with the 25%. I sent you some picture of the beans being prepared for the
Right.
for the meal, and just to show like the variety of what we do. So
And how's the
yeah.
polyphenol for the body? Real quickly, what just so people understand what that effect is.
So polyphenol has a lot of like benefit. There's a lot of studies actually that have been done on the polyphenol, and so it's mostly anti-inflammatory, but it protect also the heart. It's very good for cardiovascular, like protection. And I mean, it does have so many good benefit for the body. And I have myself, I need to study, and I do want to do deep more into the subject of it, because again, there's so many studies that have been done, and so many doctor actually recommend the the good olive oil rich in polyphenol. And the FDA also did some studies and recommend that 2 tablespoons, which is about 30 ml of high quality EVOO per day, will help and will provide some protection, for especially for cardiovascular disease.
And I think people have definitely heard that, Sandra, in the sense of olive oil is good for you. But
Yes.
because I certainly grew up like that, and my
Yes.
mother used to give me 2 tablespoons of olive oil like every morning. But I don't think that people realized the processing and the quality, the difference in the quality, and that was one reason why I wanted to chat with you, so
Yeah.
that people could get a different sense of, oh, it does make a difference in terms of how my olive oil, how this is being
Yeah.
processed. And that's your objective, is to create this optimum quality of olive oil, which has a slight bitter taste.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about it. I know we're crunching on time, but people need to understand that, because our taste buds are what sort of wired for everything but a slight bitter taste, which we need.
Totally. Yes. So the quality. So just for the anecdote, there's actually a sommelier certification that is available for olive oil. So especially in Italy, and now it's coming in the U.S., especially in California, because there is a lot of grower olive oil. Olive grower in California. But yeah, it's funny because we always do tasting event here, and so we will have an olive oil that we just buy, an extra virgin olive oil we buy at the supermarket, and then we'll try our olive oil. And you really have to do a side-by-side comparison to really see what true or extra virgin olive oil should taste like. And it is so when you put it first first of all, you will smell it, like a wine. You will just smell the aroma of it, which should not be rancid at all. If it's rancid, just toss your bottle to the trash. And when you put it in your mouth, you will feel, first of all, some green fruits, taste, and even some herb taste. And then you will also feel the bitterness and the pungency, you know, like peppery on your tongue, a little bit like, you know, when you have arugula in your mouth, you know, you
Right.
will have, you know, that taste. And definitively when you swallow it, you will have that pinch, you know, in the throat, and even a cough because it's so strong, especially when the olive oil is just pressed. Our olive oil is like a pale green, so it's like loaded with polyphenol. So it's definitively, you know, this definitively has some bitterness, and then to the point where you will, you know, cough a little bit. But that's really the sign that your olive oil is loaded in polyphenol and is extra, you know, it's super high quality, versus if you try the olive oil from the supermarket, then you just have like no
Yeah,
taste
it's
at
just
all.
a bland, it's just a regular bland taste.
Yes.
So, all right, so let's find out, because we're going to have to definitely chat with you again. Now, let's find out the website. We'd love to find out how people can get on a newsletter to find out more. If you're going to have events coming up or a big launch or any of that, how can people get a hold of you or to get more information?
So our website is www.chateau, and then
It's a little dash
a
between,
little dash, yes, and then deluz.com.
and I'll
And
have it on the site.
okay, and then we also on Instagram and Facebook, and yeah, you can sign up for our newsletter, which will start in August. And I'm really planning on bringing a lot of education, because the US market needs a lot of education about, you know, olive oil, and some recipe also how you can use your olive oil. So that's going to be interesting.
Yes, no, I'm excited about it because obviously I have had it. And it really is excellent. It is different. And I think people will feel the difference in their bodies in just even, just taking a couple tablespoons or teaspoon, whatever it is in the morning, besides putting it, in our food. But we need everything we can get these days to optimize the health of the body.
Totally, yes, yes. That's just part, you know, just including super high quality EVOO to your diet. I mean, it's just, for me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us. And everybody out there, go ahead and please check out the website and get on there. And you want to order, you want to try it out, and you want to just be up to date through her newsletter to find out more about where you're going to be able to pick it up, perhaps. Maybe not just order it, just lots of different kinds of information. So thank you so much, Sandra. And thank you to our audience out there, to find out more also about me, and to also see this video and to share other videos that we have. Go to thebusinessofdisease.com and also the expansionzone.com. And you'll obviously find it on YouTube as well. And I'm asking you to please share this video, share this information. We have to help each other to be informed in ways that we just have not been before. So thank you so much. And I look forward to updating you with another new video. Thanks again.
Thank
Bye.
you, Sonia.
Bye.
Bye.